So, today I want to talk about something that no one is saying out loud. Because if you're anything like me, you've had that moment where whether you're standing in your kitchen doing the dishes or scrolling through social media, you might find yourself just thinking, is this seriously my life? Like, you might be exhausted, doing all the things, right? But deep down, you feel like something's totally missing. And here's the part that no one is telling you: you're not broken. You're not failing. But maybe, just maybe, you've been so busy doing everything, being everything for everyone else that you forgot to ask yourself, like, what do I actually want? And so in today's episode, we're going there. We're reflecting on 2024, what it really looked like, not just that Instagram version, but we're figuring out like what could 2025 actually feel like if you gave yourself permission to dream again. And if you've ever wondered, like, why don't I feel alive anymore? Why do I not feel like my life is this beautiful thing that I thought it would be? I want you to stay with me because what I'm about to talk about and share with you might just be that wake up call that you didn't even know you needed. So trust me, it's going to be so good. Hey, beautiful soul. Can I ask you something? Like, have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions, managing everything and everyone else, like the kids, your work, your family, all those endless to-do lists, but somewhere along the way, you forgot to check in with yourself? How that's me. I've been there. And now this new year, it's here. And there's all this pressure to fix everything, set these big goals, hit that ground running, right? And if you're honest, there's this tiny little voice that's whispering in your head, and it's saying, what do I even want anymore? Like, what's going to make me feel alive again? And sometimes that can take a long time to do. So if that's you, you're not alone. In fact, you're exactly the person I want to talk to today. Because here's what I've learned: life doesn't change because of a list of resolutions. Do you want me to say that again? Life doesn't change because of a list of resolutions. So it changes when you pause long enough to reflect on where you've been and what you really want. You know, you can't pull out a map and just pick your destination. You have to know where you're coming from to be able to even get the keys and get in the car and hit the road, right? So today we're hitting that pause button. We're going to go look back at 2024, not just those highlight reels, but the lessons that are hidden in the messy part of our lives, and use them to start shaping our 2025. The 2025 that feels lighter, brighter, more beautiful, and so much more like you. And don't forget, I have created a workbook for every episode. And this episode, especially, I want you to be able to have that resource to take action on what we're talking about today. So go grab it in the Facebook group where we meet live and all the replays, and you can keep that conversation going. Okay. But before we start dreaming about 2025 and what it could look like, again, we need to take a moment to just reflect on 2024. And this can feel scary because we're not looking at the highlight reels necessarily. Now, those are part of it, right? But we're going to look at the real life that you lived or that you're living. Those include the disappointments, the lessons, the small wins that paved a way for something bigger. Like, I want to share a story with you because in the third quarter of 2023, I sat there and I realized I was checking all the boxes. Like, I was managing life well, I was managing work well, family, right? I was spending time with them, but I never stopped to ask myself, like, what is it that I actually want here in midlife? Now that I have empty nest happening, like, what is it that I want? And it took some time to reflect on this question. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy because I had to look at disappointments, right? The things that I'd actually tried to avoid. And then here's a tough question that kept coming up for me. When was the last time I actually celebrated myself, right? Not celebrating my family because I do that well. Not celebrating the to-do list and checking off all those things because I do that well as well, but to celebrate just me. And that's a question I have for you today, too. So, like, here's the thing I learned. If I was feeling disappointed when something didn't happen, that actually meant that there were dreams buried deep inside that I wasn't necessarily aware of. And so those dreams I hadn't even allowed myself to even acknowledge. And it wasn't until I was able to look at the disappointments was I able to even see them. So that reflective time, it actually became a turning point for me. It was the catalyst for how far I went into 2024. So Jonathan and I, we started a podcast in 2024. I started these live streams in 2024. I got back into coaching in 2024. These are things that I hadn't even dared to face or do in several years. So it wasn't easy though. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like I had to face fears, right? Fears of being seen. I love my private life. And then technology. I had to take a lot of classes to face that fear of technology. This little analog soul girl right here, it took a steep learning curve, okay? And so sometimes the plans that we make, they don't go the way that we hope, right? So maybe 2024, it wasn't your year to thrive. Maybe it was just your year to survive, okay? And that's okay because growth doesn't always happen where everybody can see it. For most of the year, for me in 2024, it felt like all of my growth was happening underground, right? And you've seen those pictures with the iceberg under the water, right? And you just see the little tip. Like that's what I'm talking about. But by the end of the year, those seeds started sprouting in ways that people could finally start seeing my progress. Okay. And here's why I'm telling you this. Like maybe you're in that phase where you're underground, right? All the growth is happening there. But there is growth happening and you might just not be able to see it yet. Maybe you see it, but other people don't see it yet. Maybe you're looking back at 2024 thinking it was full of hard moments or missed goals, disappointments, right? But let me just tell you something right now. Those hard moments of 2024, they're not failures. They're lessons. Okay, that's the perspective I want you to take today. So the hard days, the tears, the frustration, they all teach us something. Okay. And so I want you to real quickly ask yourself, like, what's one thing from 2024 that you learned about your strength and resilience? Okay. Maybe it taught you that you're braver than you think. Maybe it taught you things that you don't actually want to carry with you in your life anymore. Or maybe it showed you how to slow down and savor what really matters. That's an important one right there. So those lessons, they're gold, okay? And they're worth much more than any perfect plan that you can build here in 2025 with your resolutions. So right now, I want you to take a moment. I want you to take that moment to reflect, okay? Write down 3 wins from 2024. Big or small, doesn't matter. I want you to just write one lesson that you learned from those challenges or those victories. Okay. Don't skip this step because it's so powerful. Okay. If you're using the workbook that I've created for you, there's a special spot here for this. So make sure you go and you grab it. I don't want you to just listen today and sit on the bench. I want you to engage and do the work. Okay. That's why I create these workbooks for you. But now that we have reflected on where we have been in 2024, it's time to start dreaming about where we want to go in 2025. Okay. But before we dive into going into goals and resolutions, I want to ask you something. Like, do you really know what you want? Not just what you think you should want, but what actually lights you up. Okay, let's get real quick and honest with ourselves. Nobody else is going to read your answers like this is just for you. So there's a big difference between setting a big list of goals and creating a vision for your life. Like, and trust me, the vision is what really makes a difference here. And I'm going to explain to you what the difference is. But confession time, 2024 didn't go as planned as I wanted either. Okay. So, in honestly, I'm done with chasing goals. I'm done with chasing those long lists of resolutions and expectations that I put on myself or the world puts on me, right? They don't even make me feel alive. Can you relate? Like, put the raised hand emoji in the comments below if you can relate, right? You know what I'm talking about. That perfect number on the scale, the perfect family vacation, the big promotion that's supposed to fix all your bills, right? Sometimes we chase these things that aren't even ours, okay? They're things that we think we want because we've been conditioned to think those things, but when we actually get to them, they don't make us happy. And here's the truth. Goals without a vision, they don't fill your soul, okay? They're just check boxes. Vision, on the other hand, it's what makes you rise up. It's the thing that helps you face that struggle and move forward anyway because you can see something on the other side waiting for you. So, most of us, we start the year making this big, giant to do list: lose 10 pounds, clean the house, anything that we think will make our lives so much better. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, like, why do I even want these things? Like, why did I put this on that list? How does it make you feel when you get there and you achieve it, right? That's the difference between the goals and resolutions and the vision. Goals are just results, okay? They're destinations, they're places you want to go on the map. But vision, vision is that carrot that sits in front of you and keeps you going. It's the spark that keeps you moving. It's not about the what, it's about the why. Okay. A vision board is not just pictures of vacations and dream homes, and those are great, and you can put them on your vision board, but it's about creating a life that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel like you. Life is beautiful when you are looking at this vision, right? It's about dreaming beyond that checklist and imagining the woman that you want to become. So let me ask you something. Like, have you ever hit a big goal? Maybe a weight loss number, or a job title, a Pinterest worthy family photo, right? And then thought, like, is this it? Like, this doesn't feel like I thought it would once you get to achieving it. That happens because goals without vision are very hollow. And they're just numbers or milestones, check boxes, right? They can't sustain you when the process gets hard. That's why we often, and by February, have stopped the resolution. Vision, it, on the other hand, it's what gives the goal a meaning. When you have this clear vision, you're willing to do the hard work, you're willing to face the challenges and keep going because you're chasing something that truly matters to you. So this year, I want to invite you to do something totally different. If you are accustomed to building resolutions and goals in the new year, like, I'm not saying don't put those goals on paper, but I'm saying first start with the vision, right? And instead of thinking about what you want to achieve, I want you to focus on what you want to feel. Okay. What's one word that makes you feel alive? Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's growth. Okay. Your power word becomes your compass when you're on your journey. Okay. It's the thing that guides you into 2025 and through 2025. It helps you decide what goals are worth pursuing and chasing. And, like, for example, like, if your word is growth, like, what does growth look like to you in all the different areas of your life, in family and career and relationships? Like, how can you create a small, consistent action that aligns with that vision, right? That's what we're building to get together this month. Okay. And take a moment to, like, start brainstorming your power word for 2025. Like, what's a word that deeply resonates with you? It helps you feel like you're taking in a deep breath, like it's your fresh start. It's that spark of hope. Okay. And if you're using the workbook that I've created for you, and you can download in the Facebook group, I've created like a starting point, like several words that could be the word that you come up with for 2025, but doesn't have to be on that list. But totally use that as a resource to just kind of spark some ideas. So now we have reflected on 2024 and we're starting to dream about 2025, right? But let me just tell you something. Like, this isn't about sprinting into the new year with this massive to-do list or feeling like you have to transform like overnight, okay? Because it's about walking steady with intentionality toward the life you want. And so today we're going to go ahead and talk about how these small, consistent steps can lead to that big, lasting change that you want. So right now, the whole world, it's shouting, New Year, New You. I'm sure you've seen it, you've heard it everywhere, but let me tell you something, okay? You don't need to sprint out of the gate, right? You're not behind. But here's the thing, you've been running for years, right? I mean, haven't you? I know I have, right? Maybe it's actually time to slow down, breathe, right? Finally enjoy the race, the journey, and the process. Because here's the truth, the tortoise always wins, right? You've heard the story of the tortoise and the hare. Who wins? The one who stays on track. So every January, it's the same thing, go big, go home, right? Well, when we set these giant resolutions, we're signing up for gym memberships, we're buying fancy planners, and let me just tell you something, I love my fancy planner, so I'm not downing this, but we throw ourselves into this whole new year with everything we've got. And by February, most of us are burned out, right? I know I've been there. We've all been there. Like I'm pretty sure I can say that with honesty. But let me just totally ask you this. Like, what if instead of trying to sprint your way to the finish line, you channel the heart of the tortoise, right? You slow down, you're steady, you're consistent, you're intentional. Because the tortoise always wins, not because they're faster, because they stay the course, right? They don't lose track of that vision of where they're trying to go. So real change, it doesn't come from this big, huge January overhaul. It comes from showing up every single day of your life, even if it's just 1% better every day, right? It doesn't take many days before you've added that up and you get to your 100% and the goal that you have set for yourself. So, how can you build that life that you love? One step at a time, right? The whole world, it acts like January 1st is some kind of like magical reset button. And it is, it's a fresh start, right? But what if January 1st was just another Wednesday? Like, what if you didn't feel all this pressure to have everything all figured out and lined up by the end of the month of January? Like, here's the truth, you can start fresh any day, right? You don't need a new calendar to take the first step towards the big giant life that you want to live. You just need a moment of intention right here, right now, today, Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. Okay. Big changes don't happen overnight. They happen in the little things that you do every day. So big doors, they swing on little hinges, right? So what's one small, manageable thing that you can do today that aligns with your vision for 2025, that power word that you chose, right? Let's give you some ideas. All right, let's say that your word for the year is peace. Okay. Like maybe that looks like getting up and spending 5 minutes every morning in meditation and prayer and journaling. Just 5 minutes. That's manageable, right? And then what if joy is your word? Like that just might look like you're gonna like during a chore like dishes in your kitchen, you just stop and have a dance party, you know? And then if growth is your word, like maybe you're just gonna read 10 pages of a book or listen to a podcast every day. Whatever it is that inspires you. Like it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be intentional and it has to move towards your vision for 2025. So here's your homework, like pick one micro step that you can take today. Something so small, it feels completely doable, maybe even laughable. Okay. But write it down in your workbook. But friend, you've taken an incredible first step today, like reflecting on 2024 and what it's taught you, facing those fears or disappointments, possibly, right? Dreaming about what 2025 can look like and picking your power word, deciding to move forward with intention. Like that's no small thing. So big changes always begin with these small little steps, one at a time. So you've already started, and I'm really proud of you. You don't have to get it all figured out right now. Just keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Remember, you're not behind, you're not stuck, you're not a failure. You are completely capable of creating a year that feels alive with who you are, and we're totally here with you every step of the way. All right, so next week, we're going to continue this and we're going to dive in deeper on what defining success means for you, not what it means for me or the world is telling you it means, but what it means for you, because the world's version of success might be completely different than yours. Okay, we're going to figure out what it looks like for you, how to create those goals that actually feel good. So mark your calendar. I'll see you next Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But friend, I'm so proud of you for showing up today. You are so much more capable and deserving than you realize. And I can't wait to see the beautiful life that you create this year. Let's keep walking this journey together one step at a time. We'll see you later.